Welcome back to another episode of Sacred Wild Man. My name is Roy, and today I'd like to share some thoughts inspired recently from listening to the audiobook Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and thinking about this whole idea of, not just an idea, but the experience of when things fall apart in your life, that is actually an opportunity to experience something unplanned and remarkable. So what stuck out to me with this audiobook that I've been listening to is one particular point where he talks about how we go through, generally, we go through the same routine every day. And the way in which the person reading the book narrates it really just stuck out to me. It's like, wow, yeah, this is true, and it's a little bit uncomfortable to hear, but it's true. And so he talks about how we go through the same routine every day of you brush your teeth the way you brush your teeth, right? Generally, most of us do not wake up or go to bed brushing our teeth in a different way. Right? You know what? I think I'm going to do a handstand or a headstand while I brush my teeth today. Or, I'm going to brush my teeth while balancing on one leg. Usually we have this established unconscious or subconscious motion of this is how I brush my teeth, right? It's so ingrained now, I don't even need to think about it. Same with the path that we take when we go to work or, go to a specific place that we go to regularly. The people that we talk to, the perhaps meals that we prepare, we have it all down. It has been taken up by our subconscious mind so that we can do it without thinking. And this isn't, again, a right or wrong, good or bad thing. It just is. However, the point that he was getting to is that we can get stuck in these habits and patterns, and thus that title of the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Right? We've built these subconscious patterns and habits, and that we take as the sum of who we are. This is what is familiar, this is what I do, this is who I am. And oftentimes those patterns, those habits, can stem from childhood trauma or childhood experiences that we haven't ever fully processed through, but there was something there that needed attention, our attention and the attention of the adults in our lives. But because it wasn't met, our mind had to close that out. It's like, all right, we can't deal with this now. This is a little bit too much. We'll deal with it later. And I think that could be part of the phenomenon of people's quarter life or midlife existential crises, is that finally our mind is like, all right, well, now is a good time to deal with this, right? We couldn't deal with it then, but now we're in a more stable place. Let's deal with it now. And these childhood traumas, or perhaps even past life traumas, or collective trauma, whatever it is that we're carrying, we have found ways to cope. Right? We have found habits and patterns that allow us to survive. Not thrive, but just to get by, to take it a day at a time. And so that becomes the fullness of who we believe ourselves to be, which incidentally leads to us living the lives that are very much limited by that construct. Right? This is who I am, this is what I do. And therefore, if that is the sum of who you believe yourself to be and who you are, then there isn't much more available to you. Right? If you believe, this is who I am, this is the best that I can get out of this world. Well, even if another opportunity comes across your path, it's not going to resonate with you, right? Because it will likely activate some part of you that comes in to say, well, yeah, no, I'm not good enough for this job. Right? They think they want me, but they don't really know who I am. Or maybe that's the way you approach a relationship. Because again, you have a habit of who you know yourself to be, believe yourself to be. And tying in with another video that I've been listening to recently, just yesterday, they talk about how it's often the unplanned events in our life that have the greatest capacity to surprise us because, well, you couldn't have planned it. Right? Generally, we're thinking, well, I want to live my life in a manner that is one in which I can have the most control. Because the more control I have, the less unpleasant surprises there'll be. Right? Generally, we can do well with a surprise present. Right? If it's a holiday or birthday, it's like, oh wow, I love those surprises, those pleasant surprises. But when it comes to things that are more easily perceived as, well, this is negative, or, well, that wasn't the outcome that I wanted, we can very much avoid those. Like, that wasn't what I wanted, and very much fixate on trying to get what we thought we wanted. And in that video, they speak to when you make that sort of a proclamation of, this is how it's going to be. I want it to be this way only. Or let's say something goes wrong, and you say, well, this sucks. This absolutely sucks. My day is ruined. Then you narrow the field of possibility that you can experience to that. Right? This is the whole self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that this sucks and your whole day is ruined, then you will behave in a way that will make that a reality. And in this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Joe talks about how you, on a quantum level, the little that I can understand that in a way in which I can explain it, it's more something that I think we experience. But on a quantum level, if indeed everything is mostly empty space, and everything is just energy, then when you make that proclamation of, this sucks, my day is absolutely ruined, and you stay at that level of being, your thoughts and also your body reflect that. And if you were to somehow look at that on a subatomic level, perhaps you would see and gain out of those atoms or particles this vibration, right? This frequency of, this sucks, it's the worst day ever. And if that's the level in which you're being, that's the level in which you are vibrating, then you help define more of that, right? The whole like attracts like. So shifting then this perspective of, I want to live a life that I know, one in which it's habitual and the patterns are established, that nothing surprises me. What would it be like to then shift our perception to, yes, this was not the outcome that I wanted. As much as I planned for a specific outcome, it turned out differently. Rather than that being a complete letdown and this firm statement that that was wrong and it shouldn't have happened, which is very hard to do in the moment, especially for things that deeply matter to you. But if you could slowly begin to shift your perspective from, first you can acknowledge the feeling of letdown or disappointment, whatever it is you feel. Like, yeah, I do believe this sucks, or I very much feel that this sucks and it is the worst day ever. But I also allow myself to be open to whatever other possibilities here that I'm not yet able to see, I have not yet witnessed or experienced. How would that then change things for you. Thinking about even something as simple as a video game. Right? One that I've played recently after hanging out with a friend is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And there's so many comments that people have shared about that video game of, oh, I wish I could just forget and lose all my memories of this game so that I can re-experience that initial feeling of awe and wonder when I played that game. Which could perhaps even be extended to, thinking about our existence, right? People talk about this veil of amnesia that we have when we incarnate onto Earth, and whatever other past lifetimes and reincarnations that we had, there can always be this veil. And could that be part of it? Is that, yeah, that was wonderful, on the other side. In the moment, it might not feel that way, especially with difficult events in your life, the ones you least want to revisit. But perhaps on the other side, it's this feeling of, wow, that was quite an adventure. I want to go on another one. But I don't want to remember all that other stuff. I want to re-experience, just like people say about Breath of the Wild. I wish I could forget all my memories of this game so I can replay it with that initial feeling of awe once again. Is that I think what people are speaking to then is that element of one, just feeling, right? Being able to have the felt experience of whatever it is you encounter. So there's no, it should be this way, right? Because before you play that video game, or just the life that you live, you have no conception of what will come next. But that's kind of the society that we live in, is that we've been conditioned to living and operating in this way, right? You go to school, and then you go to this next level of school, and then this next level of school. You get a job, you get married, you have kids, you have a family, and then you retire, right? You're working so you can retire and enjoy this money in the last stages of your life, and then you die, right? That's kind of the limited, narrowed field of possibility in which we've been presented. That seems like a very limited way of living, that you hardly can experience the expansive possibility of life. So, feeling, the experience to just feel and experience life. And I think the second piece that people are speaking to when they say, I wish I could forget so I can re-experience all over, is I guess it ties into the same thing, but the newness of the experience. Right? So again, it's about feeling, but there's this sense of adventure and newness to it. It's fun because you don't know what'll come. And it's this interesting, to me anyways, this interesting paradox of we want to live a life, a pleasant life, without all the troubles. But we also want to have fun and have adventure in specific ways, right? An adventure to go visit another place. An adventure to visit foreign land that we haven't been to and to witness the beauty of that land. These are experiences that are a little bit easier to think, well, that is fun, that is adventurous. And I don't want to plan it a specific way. I want to be able to experience that awe and newness of, wow, that was not what I expected at all. But then when it comes to other events in our life, we very much push it away, right? Because it doesn't feel the same way. Like, who would want a surprise that initially feels unpleasant? A breakup, a job loss, 2020, 2021, right now into 2022. And yet, perhaps it is very much these experiences that we most want to avoid that holds the greatest potential for our unfolding into something greater. And so when things do fall apart, that is a great opportunity to, one, break the habit of being yourself, and to witness what can arise from this that I do not yet currently know. And if you can stay with that frame of mind, you might be surprised by what happens next, whenever it happens. But there has to be this sort of willingness to surrender to that, this willingness to have it all fall apart. My plans didn't work. My habits and patterns of who I know myself to be just don't cut it anymore. And it's also not a life that I feel is fulfilling. And just sit with that. Sit with that for a while and see, what arises from being able to sit with it. I bring up the example again of the caterpillar, right, which becomes, a butterfly or becomes a moth. Is that I don't imagine a caterpillar has any clue that it is going to become a butterfly or a moth. I don't think so. I don't know. It's possible that a caterpillar's being is like, yes, I am munching on these leaves because I am to become a butterfly, so I need to eat a lot so that I can, move on to the next stage. Or if it's just eating and munching on these leaves because, heck, I want to eat leaves, I'm hungry. And then something happens where like, I don't feel so good. I think I need to cocoon up, and this is just what I need to do next, and just go with it. So too for us, I think, is this process of unfolding, evolving, transforming. Is, if we were to just take the word breaking the habit of being yourself and just take it as breaking, yes, perhaps something needs to crack, break, and fall apart for us then to really begin to move towards that threshold of, well, this is something new. I can say yes, I can say no. You have that choice. But if I have made these thoughts, or you could say even it's some form of prayer, right? If you've ever been like, I just want something good to happen in my life. And, it's such a long time. Why are these bad things always happening to me? But I wish for once I could just could catch a break, right? Something positive could happen in my life. Well, the universe hears that, right? On the level of thought, it is absolutely heard. And so it might not happen the way that you want it to, but that could be the very entry to the universe being like, oh, hey, that guy said, he wants something good and positive to happen in his life because it's been so, terrible. Well, hey, we got you, so we're going to send this event in your life, and this is absolutely going to lead into that, so why don't you take this? And if our consistent response is, well, no, like that isn't what I want either. And we keep pushing these things away, pushing away, living this life of then becoming bitter, resentful, and miserably entitled. We keep drawing those events to us. Because in some essence, that has now become the mantra and rallying cry that we're sending out into the universe of, you know what, this is the sum total experience of what it is like to be me, and that's never going to change. And the universe accordingly will be like, all right, okay, well, fine. You know, this is what you want, is what I'm hearing, so great. Let's we will absolutely support you in that life that you choose to live. So when things break apart, when things fall apart, that is an opportunity. And I think that is about as much as I can say about it before it becomes repetitive. But sometimes just hearing it a couple times helps the message to sink in for us is, yeah, maybe I need to hear that more than once. And implementing it, living it out is easier said than done. But perhaps just watching this video, the next time or the next moment something might happen, you can just have that 1 degree shift in your perspective. And something a grad school teacher of mine spoke to is that even a 1 degree of shift has big consequences. Like if you were just sailing and then you turn your rudder 1 degree, that will take you on a whole different trajectory. So it doesn't have to be the big things that always makes these changes. Sometimes it can be something small, you know, something breaks, right? Your favorite pen or your phone, whatever it is, something breaks. It's like, oh, well, that sucks. But now I want to see what other possibility exists here besides just, oh, well, something broke, and that could be a negative. You know, maybe then it's, all right, well, now I need to go to the store to replace that phone. And along the way, you know, witness something. Maybe it's a beautiful scene in nature. You're like, wow, this means something just to be able to witness this here today. And that might be enough. Or you meet somebody, like, oh wow, my phone broke, but I met this very interesting person, and maybe there's something more there where we're really clicked with each other. So a reframe in perspective when things fall apart, and that when things go wrong, supposedly, that is an opportunity to break the habit of being yourself, breaking the habit of pattern and familiarity, to experience that same awe and wonder that perhaps was the reason why you came here, to experience awe and wonder and do other things that you like to do, right? Again, it's not bad or wrong to have things go according to plan, but it's in the surprises and in the unexpected that perhaps we get to witness more of ourselves and also more of this life that we are here living. So that is all for today's video, and thank you for tuning in.